Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I'm your reader, Jay. This is a very special birthday reading for Scorpios during their birthday period. Hello, Scorpios. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everything's going good in your life. Hope you got a smile on your face today. And if you're celebrating your birthday today, if you're watching this on your birthday, happy birthday. If you're watching it before, happy birthday. And if you're watching it after your birthday has passed, happy birthday, no matter what. This is, like I said, is for you guys during your birthday period between October 23rd and November 21st. So we're going to see some messages today. And yeah, so other than that, there'll be a timestamp below if you want to skip ahead to when I actually have all the cards out and I begin the reading. You can check down there for that. And also down there is information on how to get a personal reading with me if you're interested. And previously meditated off camera, so we're just going to get a few shuffles in here right now on camera until the energy is fully with me. Sorry. Had something fall into my cheek there. Anyway, yeah, so give this a few shuffles till we get back with your energy, Scorpio, during your birthday period, October 23rd through November 21st. And once again, Scorpio, I hope you have a fabulous birthday. I hope that you get the wishes that you need, the wishes that you want, the wishes that you deserve. And if it's not anything too deep, I just hope you have a nice day. Celebrating it with people that you know and love, that know and love you and care about you. And I'm always a fan of cake on a birthday, so if you're able to partake, I hope the cake was delicious. All right, let me see. Scorpio. How many? Let's do one more. Let's do one more bridge, shall we? One more bridge? Yes. All right, one bridge. All right. Let's see what we get, Scorpio. If you regularly watch my channel, oh, there it goes. It flipped over in the middle. If you regularly watch my channel, I don't shuffle this reading the same way I do my others. So we start there with number 1, then we get number 2, number 3, 4, 5, and 6. There's no bottom of the deck energy. There will be an oracle card, which I realize now is somewhere where I don't want it to be, so I'm going to have to get that later. But we'll get an oracle card for you at the end of this, okay? So that's your 6 positions. Let's go ahead and flip everything over and let's see what you're dealing with, Scorpio, okay? And Scorpio, if you haven't seen any of the birthday readings that I've done previous to this, I hope you can kind of catch on. This is sort of favoring a tiered item or object, which is, you know, similar to a cake, because like I said, I love cake, and that's kind of what we're doing here. But each position for you will have a specific meaning. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Position 1 is going to be where you're starting out, and that's essentially how you're coming into your birthday period. Essentially, it's the energy of the past, or what you're already aware of, what you might be dealing with currently, or what might be sort of stuck with you, and sort of is an energy that you would be very, very familiar with, okay? So your first position come in as the Queen of Pentacles. And by the way, this is the oh God, what is the Spirit? No, what is this? Yeah, I was right. The Spirit Within Tarot by Stephen Bright, in case you wanted to know. I'm sorry. So you come in with the Queen of Pentacles, Scorpio. So you are feeling quite, in some regards, independent. And not saying that you have to be a single person, you live alone, you don't have family, you don't have roommates or a wife or a husband or anything like that. But you do have this sense of, I have a knowledge of who I am. I have a knowledge of what I'm worth. And I get that a lot. Aside from the pentacles, I feel like if you look at the silhouette of this figure, it's kind of a woman in like a business suit, right? Hair's up in a ponytail or in a bun, messy bun. So there's this sort of tailored or professional feeling that I have here. But I'm feeling more tailored. And tailored not necessarily to do with clothes, but tailored as in edited, augmented, styled. Like you've been very particular about yourself. And in a lot of ways, I feel like this is like a card of knowing who you are or knowing who you want to be. So there's this idea or this feeling of, here's what I'm already accomplished in, or here's what I feel already comfortable with in terms of your skills, in terms of your knowledge or your education, or even in terms of your personality or things about you, like your interests. Right? And then on the other side is a list of things that you want to accomplish, that you want to learn, that you want to improve on, or that you want to experience for the first time or become involved with. And of course, that can go in just about any area of your life. It could be business development or your career. It can be financial. It can be relationships, romantic or otherwise. It can be even self-development. But there's sort of like this eye on the prize feeling with the Queen of Pentacles. Like I said, you feel tailored, you feel very like structured or firm in what you already have accomplished or have acknowledged or experienced in life. And then you have your eye on the prize as far as what's next, what can I do to accrue more. Now, for some of you, that can be money, and that can speak directly to your career sector. So that could definitely be saying, or this card could definitely be saying, look, I'm a junior VP at this company, or I'm a junior executive at this company. I'm trying to make senior. I'm trying to make, I'm trying to make a CEO one day, or a CFO, or whatever you're trying to do. And so you're looking not only at the criteria of what the company needs, but you're also looking at the criteria as far as like, maybe you're not as confident as you want to be, or as confident or as forward, not forward in a rude way, but forward as in like, there's a phrase that I think is particularly used for females in a work setting, lean in. And there, I guess it was a study or someone casually noticed, like, I don't remember the foundations of this phrasing per se, but basically, typically women, and I'm not saying this is exclusive to women, but typically women in a boardroom setting or a professional meeting tend to shy away from the leaning into the table or even sitting at the table. If you have a crowded conference room and there's only so many seats, but there's also standing room, a lot of women will stand or choose to stand or choose to sit at the chairs that aren't at the table. And so this idea of leaning in was presented or is being touted for women to be more authoritative, to be more assertive when it comes to their presence in the office, their presence in their professional space, and to not shy away from, like I said, being assertive, being firm, being a presence to be reckoned with. Not like in a vengeful way, not in a way of being arrogant or controlling, but to be someone who says, look, I know my value here. I have expertise here. I have input here that is valuable to the company, and it doesn't hurt to it makes me look good too. So there's this feeling with you, Scorpio, that where you've been recently, where you might be right now, and what you might carry over with you going forward is something of basically polishing yourself up, making yourself look the best that you can look, physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever. You're really trying to up your game. You're really trying to establish yourself in new areas or reaffirm a position or increase your worth or your pull or your influence within a relationship or within a dynamic or within a position at a job. There's just something about more, and not in a greedy way. It's very strategic. It's very, like I said, tailored or polished, like you're putting a lot of conscious effort into this because there's just bigger goals that you have. The Queen of Pentacles, she already has a good amount of something, meaning she's not just starting out. She's not new to the game. She has a lot of things that she can already sort of rely on or point to that shows her accomplishment, that shows her level of expertise. And again, this can be more than just work. This could be a relationship. I've been married, or I've always had, something like that. Like you can sort of qualify yourself in relationships and saying, you know, I've had the same best friend since second grade. I have a wonderful relationship with my parents. I have a great relationship with my brothers, you know, things like that. And I'm not, you know, every time I've dated, it's always been serious. I've never, you know, had a one-night stand. Not to say this makes you better, but this would be an argument that you might use, or that you might be sort of thinking of within yourself, that says, of course I'm a quality partner, male or female, doesn't matter. Of course I'm a quality partner. I have great relationships with my family, with my friends, everyone I've dated. It was a long-term relationship. It wasn't a wham bam thank you ma'am situation. It was always substantial. And so for you, for whatever reason, you might be reporting this to someone else, or you might be declaring this up front to someone if you're back in the dating scene. You know, someone's like, oh, so tell me about yourself and tell me about your dating history. And you're like, look, every relationship that I've been in, it's been at least 2 years. I don't date frivolously. I don't date for a few weeks or a few months and then I ghost you, or I say it's not working. If we get to a certain level, it's going to end up being long term. Like, you could be really saying that to somebody, because Scorpio, you know, you're a straight shooter for the most part. And so there's just this I can't say it. There we go. Thank you. You're declaring a lot to whoever you're talking to, or you're just having this internal dialogue of declarations. You're just like, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is what I'm worth. There's a lot in here about worth, self-worth, what I bring to the table, what I offer to another person in a relationship, what I offer to this family financially, whatever. You're just like straight up evaluating yourself, and you're keeping it real. And like I said, you have a list of things that need improvement, or that you want to experience for the first time, or that you kind of want to embark on, or that you know is needed as far as ensuring your development, or ensuring that you're going to get to where you want to go. So you're not perfect. Nobody is, right? And you're not claiming to be perfect. So I want to clarify that. That sounded like a lot of ego potentially with everything that I just said, but I'm not feeling this in an egotistical space at all. I feel that you're just being really honest with yourself. You're being really firm with yourself and others, and you're not shying away. Like this Queen of Pentacles, I think in other decks, the Queens of Pentacles especially can sometimes seem a little demure, or a little flighty or flaky, or kind of, you know, arrogant or something like that. Isolated. I don't feel that this queen is necessarily isolated. She's alone, but there's a lot of cards in this deck where figures are alone. But again, I feel like she's really, with that pentacle firm in hand and the two bunnies there in the background, the grayscale bunnies, right? There's this idea of, I've got a lot, or I've got enough, or I've got something, but I want more. And the bunnies, of course, symbolizing fertility. So this could be literal fertility. This could be, I've got 2 kids and I'm trying to have 2 more kids. And maybe some of you are older women in your 30s or 40s and you're like, look, I need 4 kids at least. So, you know, let's get to going and let's get these 2 kids out. It could be something literally just like that. But fertility in general, more speaking of generating growth or generating newness in anything, not just children, not just procreation, just like money, like I said, career, personal development, spiritual development for some of you. Whatever you're doing, this Queen of Pentacles is like, she has the ability to sow those seeds and reap a harvest, okay? So your second position here is sort of what's in the core of you right now. This is basically your present, what can help you in the moment, or what you're actually needing to overcome in the moment, okay? 10 of Wands. So as much as this was like your past energy, what you were bringing with you, kind of like what's in the background, this Queen of Pentacles, this would be in the foreground. This would be like center stage, this 10 of Wands. And this, I'm feeling this very much aligned with like the traditional Rider-Waite definition of, or interpretation, excuse me, of the 10 of Wands. Backbreaking work, arduous work, tedious work, work that breaks, you know, makes you break a sweat or stresses you out. In some cases depresses you, makes you super tired, whatever. So you've been going at this for a while. Whatever you've been developing, it's been for a while. So if we go back to the dating scenario, you've been on dates, you've been having your friends set you up on blind dates for several months or even years for some of you. And not to say that a date necessarily makes you break a sweat, but it can be tedious, or it can be sort of repetitive, and sort of it seems like it should be working out by now if you've gone on several over the past few months or years or however long. And part of what I'm feeling in this particular instance, or this particular sector, that is romance and dating, is that you have this game plan, Scorpio, here with the Queen of Pentacles. And then it's just not hitting. You haven't gotten the results that you feel very sure about. You're like, I'm 30 whatever, I'm 20 whatever years old, and by the end of 2018, I'm going to have a boyfriend, or I'm going to have a girlfriend. Or if you're steadily dating somebody throughout the year, you're like, okay, we're going to get engaged, or we're going to move in together. You have this sort of escalating plan, for lack of a better word, Scorpio, when it comes to your dating life, and it hasn't really progressed. It hasn't really scaled up. It's sort of flatlined. So that can literally be you're going on these dates and everybody's a dud, or everybody gets scared away because you're like, look, I got a plan. Are you down with my plan or no? You know? Or you're dating the same person, but it seems to sort of just be stagnant, and it hasn't really escalated or de-escalated. It's sort of become very cumbersome and very monotonous and very boring. And boredom to you, the boredom probably doesn't bother you, Scorpio. It's more of the lack of vision on your, probably on your partner's part. I don't think, because for some of you, maybe you're not sharing this whole I have a plan thing. I feel most of you have shared it, but for the one or two of you that haven't really expressed that leveling up that you want in the relationship to your partner, you need to man up or woman up and express that to them. For those who have, which I feel is the most of you, you are not happy that your partner hasn't really reacted to your ideas or your input or your vision for what the future of your relationship holds, okay? So in other cases where this is work, maybe you've seen the criteria of what it means to move up the corporate ladder, and you've been busting your hump, working more hours, taking on extra projects, introducing more clients into the business. You know, you've been racking up little, awards within the company. You've been, pulling down bonuses and doing all that kind of stuff. And it just hasn't paid off. Like, nobody's come to you and said, congratulations, Scorpio, you're promoted. Or congratulations, Scorpio, you made partner. Or congratulations, Scorpio, here's your $50,000 bonus, da-da-da. Whatever you were expecting, it just has not paid off yet. And I feel here that it's this discouraged energy, no matter what area of your life this comes from, or is hitting it, Scorpio, is you're discouraged. Like, you're straining to keep it all together. Like, can you see there, like, the silhouette of this guy's face? Like, how he's just, like, grinning and bearing it, sort of? Can you see that there? And so it's sort of like, when you're watching, like, a game on television, and, like, it's like a clutch game, or it's like down to the wire, and they do a close-up on an athlete's face. The sweat's pouring down, their mouth is open, their eyes are a little dazed, but something within them is telling them to keep going. Like, you can imagine like a Gatorade ad or something like that. And similar images are there where someone is just like beat, like I said, sweat coming out of every pore, but they continue to throw punches, or, they're still biking up that mountain, whatever. That's what this is. You could stop. And the 10 is sort of a culmination point. So it indicates that you can stop, or you should stop, or the situation itself will kind of dissipate. And I feel this is the other part, is like, I just feel like you're 2 steps away from throwing in the towel. Like, this is what you do. You're like 2 steps away from throwing in the towel, and then you're like, no, I can't stop. I can't stop. I put in this much work. I've been working on this for such a long time. I got to keep going. So you sort of double down, or you, like I said, you pull your strength up from out of nowhere, like a sports ad or a Gatorade ad or something like that. And you go in and you go hit a home run, or you slam dunk the ball. It's just like that last punch of energy, and you keep going. But I feel you've done this a few times. To have this in your present energy, I feel that has happened a few times already. So going back to the dating thing, maybe you were like, look, you're talking to your friend and like, listen, all the girls that you set me up with, or all the guys that you set me up with, have been duds. They've been garbage. They've been just, nah, bro, stop it. And your friend's like, okay, I'll leave you alone. And then like you come back like a week later, you're like, listen, you don't have what about so-and-so? Like you go and you look at their Facebook, or you look at their Instagram, and you're like, how about this person? Is this person single? And they're like, oh yeah. And you're like, all right, hook me up. So it's like, as much as you're saying, I'm done with this, I don't want to do this anymore, I can't do this anymore, I can't move forward, you continue to move forward. So there's just this idea of retaining this goal that you've set up with the Queen of Pentacles, and pushing through the trying times and the stressful times, and the times where you're just incredibly tired. You're so tired. So tired. Okay? I can't stress how tired you are. You're super tired. Okay? But you keep moving forward, and I commend you for that. I totally commend you for that. Now, in your third position, this is how... Ooh, don't slide all over the place, Mr. Cloth. Sorry about that. In your third position, this is how you're moving forward. You might consider it the future, or it might be what's coming towards you, what you could expect. Like I said, coming from the future? Sure, coming from the future. 9 of Swords. So, compiling with everything that I just said, right? You might need to push through a little further than you may have originally intended with the Queen of Pentacles. Because this 9 of Swords is like mental strife, mental stress, mental exhaustion, right? But the key with this is an anxiety as well. If it's not like totally stressed out, if it's not, you're locking yourself in your bedroom for 2 days, you're not leaving because you're afraid to face the world. It can just be, well, not just be, but it also can be anxiety. So like panic attacks, like, why am I saying this okay, right. Thank you. So in some cases, like this energy could be long standing, or it could like permeate through several days or a certain period in your life. During your birthday month or this birthday period for you. So, but for others, it would be like spikes of activity. Like that's the way they're showing it. It's like for some, it's like a spread out energy for some. And for others, it's just like periodic like jolts or periodic injections of this. The thing, no matter what, in each of these, right? Or in either of those scenarios, in either of those manifestations, is that this, to a certain extent, is all to do with your perception. Why do I say a certain extent? Because we've already established here things are stressful, things are really hard for you, they're really challenging for you. That is real. And when you work more hours at work, or you go out on dates, but you're feeling emotionally frustrated or emotionally dejected because nothing is working out, this could be your spiritual development. So maybe some of you are trying to practice certain religions, or you're getting into meditation, but you miss a day or two, and then you're like, oh, well, I've missed 2 days. That must mean meditation isn't for me. Or, you tried yoga, but you really didn't enjoy it. Or even in other cases, it could be even about your physical appearance. So some of you might be trying to lose weight, but then, you kind of indulge yourself on a Friday night. It's like, I worked so hard this week, I'm going to order a pizza, I'm going to watch, Netflix and just zone out. And then you do that, and then maybe you get up and you go out to brunch or breakfast with your friends on Saturday morning, and like you just have a throwaway weekend where you totally were off your diet, you were totally off counting calories, you were totally off of the Weight Watchers plan, whatever you're doing. And that's stressful. Like it literally happened. So the reason I said that in this card, it is to an extent a perception is because if you do feel anxiety or if you feel stressed or you feel depressed about something that happened to you in reality, that you can go back and say, hey, when I ate those 4 cupcakes, over the weekend, you didn't imagine that actually happened. So that's the distinction they want me to point out to you is like, perception for some, but in other cases, it really is rooted in something that really happened, that really transpired, that really got you upset, okay? But for the most part, this is going to be about perception. This is going to be about sort of making mountains out of molehills in a way, or injecting doubt, injecting sort of pessimism, when not that there shouldn't be, but certainly you're not going to do yourself any favors if you do that, Scorpio. You're definitely not going to do yourself any favors if you do that. And the thing that I want you to see here is like the posture of this person, head down, head between the arms, not observing the surroundings at all. So again, it's like this internalized strife, this internalized struggle, which again could be rooted in something that happened in reality, but it becomes so much bigger and more damaging the more you keep that internalized. So what I'm getting here is you're sort of devolving, decreasing from a point of like stellar confidence to maybe it'll work. I just got to push through. I gotta make, just one more day or just one more client for the list, or just if I work on this project, then after that, the doors will open to being completely doubtful, to being completely plagued with fear and apprehension and self-doubt and self-pity and all these things. So there's this de-escalation going on, which is the exact opposite of what you wanted here with the Queen, which is to escalate, to move up. So this is just what could be for your life, Scorpio. I'm going to say this probably will resonate with some of you. This is not for everybody. I can tell you that right now. But for those where you're feeling this downtrend, like I said, some of it is rooted in reality. But the part that's really hitching me up here energetically is this 9 of Swords. It's just like, there's no way around it. That's your mind playing tricks on you. That's you being your own worst enemy. That's you getting in your own way by overthinking too much, by analyzing too much, by being too skeptical, or not, in some cases, not being satisfied with the incremental progress. Some of you, not all, but some of you want like turnaround progress, like flip the switch, total 180, going, instead of going down, like shooting straight up, It's just like, that's not necessarily realistic. That's not necessarily plausible or even sustainable in some cases. And so there might be this 9 of Swords for some of you, not all of you, just some, might be resulting or might be present for you because of your expectations. Like your expectations that things should have been done by now, or things should have been concluded by now, or certain things should have been accomplished by now. And again, to a certain degree, that means you're not cutting yourself any slack. That means you're kind of beating yourself up over things that you possibly, more than likely, can't control. If this is at work and you work on a team, or you work with a partner, or like I said, you're working with clients, and maybe you've been buttering up a client, or you've been establishing a relationship, but they haven't committed to a certain contract with you, or they haven't committed to procuring or utilizing certain services at your company. And you're like, look, I need you to do this like by the end of the week. Like you're saying this internally. If this person doesn't get a contract with us by the end of the week, they're going to mess up my sales and da-da-da-da-da. And that end of the week doesn't come. And then you feel like all of your work has been for nothing. And to, again, a certain extent, maybe that's true, but the overall picture that you might be avoiding, or that you might be overlooking, rather, is that the person does want to do business with you, but maybe they needed more time in order to gather up more resources. Maybe they needed more time to be fair and compare your services or your company with another before they actually come back to you and say, okay, I'm down with you. And you might get that client or get that account come Monday, come Tuesday of the following week. Now, of course, that's not in the time frame that you would have liked, Scorpio, but the result can still look good on paper for you in some way. I hope that makes sense. So I feel here with your third position, there's like this needing to reconcile reality with your perceptions, to find the middle ground between your subjective point of view and the more objective point of view, or the more objective outside perspective, in order to, like I said just now, about seeing the picture overall. Okay, so they didn't sign the contract by this date, which screws up your quota or screws up what you were aiming for in your personal development, but what they bring to the table for your business, whatever, is still substantial, and still they're going to sign the contract. It's still going to be noted, hey, Scorpio was the person that brought this client to us. Let's all recognize Scorpio. Now, having that deadline met, maybe you would have had a bonus. Maybe it was just something where you were on a rhythm. Like every week you were bringing in more customers, more business, whatever. And this is the 1 week where you didn't get a client in the door, and now you kind of feel salty about it. It's like, don't feel sorry about it, because this person could still want to do business. Do you see what I mean? Like, if they walk away and they don't do business with you at all, they essentially wasted your time. Like, once you know that for sure, then maybe be upset about it. But if it didn't fit your timeline, if it didn't fit your stipulations, like there's just this feeling in some cases, not all cases, but in some cases, that some of you Scorpios need to sort of relax a little bit, loosen your grip a little bit. I hope that makes sense, okay? Now, your fourth and fifth position, but your fourth position here, this is going to be what I consider the gifts or the presents, or what you might consider the icing on the cake. It's something that you may have asked for, hoped for, what you've been working towards, or what you are sort of in line to be rewarded with. So, Knight of Pentacles in the fourth position. So again, this feeling of like independence, career, development, advancement, is just this idea of going for what's yours. And I should say that, and I didn't say it before, but I definitely should say it now that I've really seen that there's 3 pentacles on here. Pentacles, as far as movement or time and all that kind of stuff, pentacles out of all of the suits are the slowest, okay? So this plan that you've had with the Queen of Pentacles, it's just not, like I said before, it's not going to happen overnight. It's smart, it's practical, it's steady, but it's not fast. And that's the same here. It's practical, it's steady, but not fast with the Knight of Pentacles. He's got his little lawnmower there in the background. He's got a pentacle, not as big as the Queen of Pentacles, right? So there might be, in some cases, this idea of needing to go back to what you originally sought out to do and sort of parsing it back or paring it down. Yeah, like minimizing it. So for whatever factor or factors or reasonings or circumstances that might befall you, Scorpio, you might have to go back to the drawing board and sort of rethink your strategy or rethink your goals or rethink the prioritizing, there you go, of your goals in some cases. Like the Queen of Pentacles, I feel, is a good place to start, and she's a good sort of outline for what you are wanting to get to in your life, what you're wanting to eventually level up to. But again, it might be too much. Or again, it might be an issue of time. Your timeline might need to be altered. Maybe not the things that are on your list or the things that you have in terms of what you want to accomplish or what you want to experience, but maybe in what time frame that you want to experience them, that you want to accomplish them, might need to change. So you might have goals that say, by the end of 2018, I need to have done these 5 things. And, you know, the end of 2018 is right around the corner, okay? We're 2 months away from that. And so maybe, Scorpio, you need to let go of 2 of the 5 things. And say, all right, so for these 3, I'm pretty much locked in. I'm pretty much going to have those 3 things accomplished. But these other 2 things, I'm not sure, you know. And again, it could be because you're reliant on other people. You're reliant on certain circumstances or situations. You're reliant on having a certain amount of money saved, whatever. Don't be afraid to edit or augment what you've already laid out for yourself in some way. Maybe not completely getting rid of certain goals or things that you want, but at least toying with the idea of them coming at a later time than you may have expected or desired. Okay? And I feel that the Knight of Pentacles, his ability to do that is a lot more sound or logical than the Queen of Pentacles. Because like I said here, like, she's very independent. She's kind of got like this boss attitude. Like, I'm a boss. I'm in charge. What I say goes. And she's not controlling in that way. She's not like, you know, so sassy in that way or so strong in that way. She's firm, but she's not like an iron fist. She's a softer boss. You know she's in charge. You respect her like she's in charge, but you don't fear her. You don't feel intimidated by the Queen of Pentacles. You might feel that way about the Queen of Swords, maybe even the Queen of Wands, but the Queen of Pentacles and, of course, the Queen of Cups, you'd be like, oh, she's in charge, but I'm not scared of her, you know? So, going back to the Knight of Pentacles, here comes that loud song. The Knight of Pentacles, I feel, is here to basically implement a new way, a new vision of the Queen of Pentacles. So where she had plan B, or excuse me, she had plan A, he's going to execute and sort of develop, or help you develop plan B. Maybe even plan C in some cases, okay? And again, there's this idea of the fertility, meaning growth, meaning possibilities, meaning abundance. So she's flexible. As much as she's firm, she's flexible. Might take her a while to get there, the Queen of Pentacles, but she would eventually get there. She would eventually say, okay, this isn't working. Because Pentacles and you know, associated with Earth sign people or Earth sign energy can be a little stubborn. Like, I mean, think of it literally as the earth, the ground. It's not always easy to get the ground to do what you want it to do. If you think of dirt or mud or sand, it's not always easy to manipulate those materials or manipulate those things. I hope that makes sense. Like, it's just, it takes a lot of effort to manipulate the earth, to get it to change its form. If you want to make mud, like mud out of your yard, I don't care how big your yard is, it's going to take a lot of water. It's going to take a lot of moisture. You know, if you want a muddy place to be dry, it's going to take a lot of heat. It's going to take a lot of sunlight. And if it's, you know what I mean? So the changeability of the earth, aka Pentacles, is slow. Okay? And she's open to it. It's just a matter of, okay, I guess I got to do this now. And again, the thing that, or the energies that's going to help you implement the new plans to put them into action is this Knight of Pentacles. He's a lot more industrious. He's a self-starter, right? With that lawnmower back there. He's got his own little business, right? And maybe some of you, maybe that's what you're doing. You know, maybe that is your change. I've been with this company. I've brought this amount of dollars into the business. I realize now I could do this on my own, and I'm going to start my own business. And that could be your plan B. Now, of course, starting a business, even in this day and age where, you know, everything moves, you know, quicker than the speed of light sometimes, it seems, you still have to take steps to start a business. You got to get licensing, you got to get funding or resources and startup money and all that kind of stuff. And you got to get staff, you got to get clearances and all that kind of stuff. So it takes time. But again, you can start that up, you can get that ball rolling with the energy of the Knight of Pentacles. And the thing about position 4 and 5 in this spread is that they will touch the bottom rows, right? So the Queen of Pentacles touches the Knight of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles touches the Ten of Wands. So he then would be affecting your Ten of Wands energy and helping you with that if it's a difficult energy, or supporting you if it would be a positive energy. Like I said earlier, it's sort of a difficult energy. So for the stress and the strain that is brought by the Ten of Wands, the Knight of Pentacles would help to alleviate that. So like I said, you might feel super stressed out in your job, or you might feel unfulfilled in your dating life, your romantic life, or even in your home life in some cases, in terms of relationships. The Knight of Pentacles would be industrious. He would be sort of creative. He would be hatching new ideas. Slowly, but that made sense, that were practical, that were logical, that made sense, that sort of helped everybody involved, or was more inclusive of everybody involved. And his aim would be to alleviate this energy, to alleviate the stress, to alleviate the burden, okay? Now, your 5th position is going to be the Four of Cups. Like I said before, it's sort of like the icing on the cake, or sort of like the gifts or the presents that come towards you, what you might be hoping for, wishing for, or what just might be in line with you. And you've got the Four of Cups. So, yours is a difficult reading. I'm not going to lie. This is not an easy reading. Because the Four of Cups is an energy that talks about, like I just said, sort of being unfulfilled and feeling like disenchanted and not satisfied with what you have. So there's like this energy on this side of your reading, of this side of your spread, Scorpio, that's like sort of in this nice little cycle here of like doubt and burden, disenchantment, and feeling like nothing is worth anything, and then like disbelief and sorrow and anxiety, and it feeds back into this. So this might be some loop that's in your life. And again, I feel like on this side of things, it's this idea of expectation. It's this idea of having a vision in your head and reality sort of like not matching up with that vision. And there's nothing wrong with that. That happens to everybody. But I think what's happening is perspective might be a little bit off with you, Scorpio, because with the Four of Cups, like if you look at it, the silhouette there, like this person who's seated, the 3 cups are in front of them, and they're definitely aware of those 3 cups, and whatever's in them is like, not super exciting, not very intriguing, or doesn't seem viable in some way, doesn't seem helpful in some way. And then you've got the 4th cup, in this case brought over by a waiter. But my perspective is that the person there seated doesn't even see that 4th cup being brought out and offered up. So this could be for those of you with the business line, where this is hitting in your career or your business sector. It could be support or an ally or someone who you could work with in establishing a new business, or even remaining where you are, that you don't expect. An offer you don't expect, a person you don't expect, something about it or them doesn't even catch your attention. You're not even looking at them, or looking at the offer, or looking at the person, or looking at the opportunity. So what I'm feeling is there needs to be sort of like this awareness of your surroundings. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So these 3 cups that you're looking at would be here and here and here and here and here, right? So you're already aware of the burden. You're already aware of the anxiety and the despair and the perspective that the whole world is crumbling around you. You're very aware of those 2 things. That's what you're staring at in those 3 cups there in the foreground. If you stopped, Scorpio, if you stopped wallowing, if you stopped the pity party, if you stopped feeling as if or thinking that the world is against you or that certain opportunities seem to slip through your fingers, in some cases, some of you might be thinking or have this suspicion or this idea that people are sabotaging you, and it consumes you. Whatever you're focused on, it consumes you. It consumes you so much, it keeps you in this cycle like this. But you don't see the 4th card basically offered up on a platter for you that would be very beneficial to you. So I would suggest, how can you break your attention from things that make you feel so downtrodden and exhausted? Change your routines. That would just be some general advice. Change your routines. So that could mean if you're allowed to go into work a little bit earlier or later, just change your routine. Go into work earlier or later. That's one thing you could do. If typically every Friday night in your home is like pizza night for you and your family, instead of making it pizza night, why don't you make it taco night? Or why don't you make it, instead of we order food, why don't we cook a meal as a family? Whatever. Throw in a total curveball. Or if you see a curveball coming towards you, back up and knock that thing out of the park. I don't know how easy that is to do, and I'm not a sports person, but you see what I mean? Like, don't shy away from the curveball. Don't shy away from the thing that seems unexpected or seems random or seems crazy and like not beneficial, or it seems redundant or stupid, or, you know, whatever you might be thinking. It could, and again, it could be a person or a circumstance. It could be an opportunity. I don't know. But welcome it in. If you've never done it before, if you've never made a family meal before with your kids and your husband, or your kids and your wife, whoever, do it. If you kind of have an estranged relationship with your roommate, like you guys live together but you're not really like friendly like you used to be, get involved. Like, become interested in their interests. Or in the dating situation, you know, maybe you're scrolling through your friends on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and you're like, oh, who's that? And you're picking them off of reasons, criteria that you looked at previously. Look at someone who is not your type, or someone that you're like, oh, they seem kind of weird, or they seem kind of odd, or they seem kind of like, oh, isn't that person kind of stuffy? Like, maybe, you know, you're looking at somebody, it's like, oh, that's your friend? Like, they look really like stuck up, and your friend could be like, no, he or she is really cool. Like, if you got to know them, they're really cool. I'll bring them over. And like, you're already doubting that you're going to like this person. You're doubting you guys are going to connect. But if you open yourself up and you engage with that person, they might be that thing or that person that's being offered to you on a silver platter. Okay? So don't turn away from opportunities, or rather stop focusing on what you already know that is in front of you that already displeases you. Like, that doesn't make much sense, Scorpio. Why continue to focus on things that displease you? That's only going to make your life miserable. That's only going to make you a miserable person to be around. If you focus on the negative, then that will just perpetuate, and that's all you're ever going to be able to see. It's all you're ever going to be able to think about or experience or feel. Therefore, stop looking at that crap. Stop dealing with those people. Stop working at that job, or, you know, doing whatever, and shift your perspective. Shift your attention, okay? 6th position is going to be what comes on at the top of the cake, is usually a candle. So we can equate this as your wish. It could be what you're wishing for within this realm, as far as like what you practically have as a goal, or what you're wishing for on a more expansive level from the universe, from your God, from wherever. It's something, you know, that you've been hoping and praying for, but certainly it's deeply aligned with your path, is how I'd like to say it, what you desire on the deepest level, okay? Ten of Pentacles. A lot of pentacles in your reading, a lot of earth energy. So again, that's like this emphasis on slow and steady. Slow and steady. Even if it's painful. Even if it's like watching paint dry. Slow and steady. All right, so Ten of Pentacles. Card of legacy, card of inheritance, card of extended family longevity. This idea of passing down the baton, passing down heritage and what do you call it? Customs, things like that. And of course, also, like I said, inheritance of passing down of money or the transference of a business. In some cases, this could have been a family business that we're talking about. So there's this idea of continued greatness or continuing greatness. And Scorpio, you could already have that established in your life. You could be, Scorpio Jr. or Scorpio the second, and you could be the second person that this family business has been owned by, something like that. Or you could have the family, like I said, you've got 2 kids already, but for your legacy to be complete or for you to feel as if your legacy has a better shot, so to speak, quote unquote, a better shot, you want 2 kids on top of the 2 that you already have. So the idea for you, Scorpio, or rather what is deeply ingrained in you during your birthday period, as far as what you're wishing for, hoping for, desiring truly, is this idea of who am I and who will I connect to in the future? How will parts of me live on? Now, again, that can be down to biology. I literally want more little me's running around the earth so that eventually they will have other little me, thems, which will then also be little me. You see what I mean? Like literally, procreation is on some of your minds. But in other cases, it's more about money. It's more about resources, and it could be a family home in some cases. This house has been in the family for 3 generations already, and now that it's my turn to own this thing, the pipes are going, the electric wiring is going, we need this, new roofs, we need new shingles, we need this, and this. And so it's been this struggle to kind of keep things afloat so that you can have this house to pass on to your kids. Like, that might be super important for some of you Scorpios. Whatever it is, though, money, love, possessions, business, notoriety, anything like that. Again, it feels plausible, it feels possible, but I don't see the markings of it coming to you anytime soon. Like, you want it today, yesterday, tomorrow. Like, you have this idea for it to take shape soon, and I don't see that coming. Or if it does come, it's just not going to come the way that you expect it to. So, in the case of what I just talked about, as far as like having a family home and sort of passing it along to your children, I feel as though some of you might have issue with that because of money. So that could very well be, you've got to sell this home. And it's not going to anybody in your family. It's going to, the bank or a county or whoever, a realtor, whatever. And you're kind of thinking, oh my God, I'm losing the family home. We've lived in this home for 3 generations. This, my father owned this house and his mother owned it before him. And now here it is. I got to sell it, or we have to sell it. We can't afford the upkeep of this, or we can't afford to make the repairs. It's becoming unlivable, or it's becoming, disheveled in some cases, and you have to let it go. Now, to you, that means the journey is over. This vision of the 10 of Pentacles is done. I don't know that that would necessarily be true. And this is a very specific example, but, sort of fit it into your life where it can, or fit it in sort of a way that makes sense to you. But to me, I'm like, okay, so it leaves the family. It gets sold off to whoever. And you guys move out. And your kids are still young. Teenagers or some years younger than that. who's to say that within 10 to 20, even 25 or 35 years, that your children won't then buy that house back? So that might sound ridiculous to some of you, but that's sort of what I'm feeling here. This is sort of what they're telling me. It's like, based on your timeline, your expectations, what you hope for, as far as being able to qualify and quantify and be able to look and point exactly at what counts as your legacy being fulfilled or being manifested, might not happen when you think it should. A lot of this is about what you think should happen, when you think it should happen, and reality, the universe, God, whoever comes along and says, not really. Sorry, but no. Okay? So there's this feeling of, I feel you're very aligned, because you see like your Pentacles line is straight up, and it is increasing, not necessarily in rank, because again, the Queen is here in your base, but it is this stepping up. And again, it tops up here at the Ten of Pentacles, which is, again, a culmination point. The tens are culminations, meaning payoff, or meaning realization, or meaning release from, in some cases, like if it's a strenuous card like your Ten of Wands. So there is this line of pentacles that goes upwards. It could have all been pentacles this way, or it could have gone this way, you know, but this pentacle line is going up. So I feel in some way that's an affirmation that it will progress, that it will move, it will level up in some way. But again, I think it's not in the way that you would have hoped for or planned for or expected. And that's okay, Scorpio. It is totally okay. It's so okay. Please let it be okay. Because, you know, Scorpio, one of your archetypes, or not archetypes, but one of your traits, stereotyped or not, is that of control and possessiveness, and having sort of this, just this stuck picture of what things should be, how you should be, how others should be, how a situation should be, and not wanting or not allowing for there to be alternative routes or alternative actions taking place therein. Like, that is definitely a stereotype of yours. But to me, personally, every stereotype is based in fact. To some degree, it is based in a fact, or something that can be correlated to, okay? So that's personal. That's a personal thing for me. And I say this as a fellow fixed sign. You, me, I'm a Leo, you're a Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus. We are not huge fans of things not going our way. Just a fact of life. Just a fact of life. I want this. Well, we don't have that. You can have this instead. But I wanted that. You know, I'm going to give you like a quick little anecdote here. There was a time when I was a kid that my mom started buying off-brand cereals from a store that will remain nameless. It is still a grocery chain, but because my mom, this is I'm not joking, because, and you can ask my friends, if you guys know who I am, you can ask my friends and they'll tell you. So my mom buys this off-brand cereal of one of my favorite cereals that I had growing up as a kid. So she used to buy, you know, the name brand, you know, big box corporation brand cereal, and then she gets this off-brand from this freaking grocery chain that I'm not a fan of. Or that, because she got that cereal and it was gross, I then was like, oh, I'm never shopping there. And that was over 20 years ago. Easily over 20 years ago. That I ate that cereal, I did not like it, and I said, where did this come from? I didn't say that, but I knew where it came from. I saw the shopping bag. So I was like, oh, this cereal came from that store. So 1, I never ate that cereal again. My brother finished the box. 2, I never, ever, 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 if I could avoid it, have set foot in one of those stores again. Because I just became so jaded because of that experience. It wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I expected. It did not fulfill me, or it did not give me what I wanted, which was a tasty breakfast meal. And then I was just like, oh, never again. And I literally have not personally done I've not gone to that store and spent my own money ever. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and make you think I'm like completely ridiculous, Scorpio. I've had meals prepared from food that people have bought from that store, and I've enjoyed it. You know, produce, vegetables, all that kind of stuff. They're like, oh, I'm like, oh, this is tasty. Where'd you guys get this? Oh, we went to beep, beep, beep. And I'm just like, oh, damn, now I've eaten something from this place, and I enjoyed it. I say that to illustrate how fixed signs can sort of get so wrapped up in their own expectations, our own visions of what is correct or what we desire, that when something else comes along, that is totally okay. The meal I had, I'm thinking of it clearly right now, it was delicious. The meal was delicious. Everything that I ingested that night came from that grocery store. My host did not lie. She told me straight up, it all came from blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, it did? Oh, but this was so good. Is that purely down to her cooking skills? No. She had to have good ingredients to go in it. So, long story short, long anecdote short, I, as one of your fellow fixed signs, totally understand this energy. I want what I want, and I have a certain line of progression that I expect to obtain it with. And when you divert from that path, it's like annoying. It's so annoying. It's very disheartening. It's very disappointing. In some cases, it makes you angry. Or in some cases like mine, you sort of hold a grudge for like 20-something years against a corporation. Not a person. Just like, oh, you guys made horrible cereal in the 90s. I will never eat from this establishment again. Never. Of course, I have had a meal since then, since that tragic 1990 whatever incident of breakfast. I've had a meal made from food from this place, but I still am not going to go spend my money there. I'm not. Anyway, that's your birthday reading there. If you're still here, I'm going to get you an oracle card. It's over there, but I need to stop the camera for a second, so I'll be right back. All right, Scorpio, I am back with the Goddess Guidance Oracle deck. So we're going to give it a quick shuffle and see what oracles need to come out for you for your birthday period. Okay. Whoa. All right, let's get one for you. A little jumpy, but nothing came out. Whoa. Okay. And come here, you. Thank you. All right, so you have Sekhmet, be strong. And she says, you are stronger than you think you are, and your strength assures a happy outcome. Beautiful. Oh, I got excited. I thought you had another one turned over in the deck. No, you don't. But yeah, so I don't think that necessarily is a super concern of yours, Scorpio. I mean, it might be here in the Ten of Wands and a little bit in the Nine of Swords, but everything that came after it, I feel like, even the Four of Cups, there's this ability or this possibility of transcending these difficult energies that are here. Even the Four of Cups, this doesn't look like it has an end in sight. You know, his town, let me show you again. The town that is sort of in the background there, he's still got a while ago, and those wands are not carefully placed, so this doesn't look too optimistic, right? Same thing here in the Nine of Swords. He's seated. He's got his head buried between his hands. He's not looking up. He's not, you know, even considering that things can improve. He's really just stuck in this mindset. With the Four of Cups, however, this person might be fixated on those three cups in the foreground, but the person offering the fourth cup could easily get their attention, could easily walk over and place that fourth cup in front of them, or could call to them and get them to kind of break their fixation on those 3 cups there. So I get this feeling that this card here, this guidance card came out for you because some of you might toil, or like I said earlier, kind of wallow in this, I can't do it, I can't finish this, or I can't see this project through, there's no end in sight, I might as well give up. Like, some of you will toy with that idea, but I think this card is here for those who are toying with that idea, is to remind you, look, stronger than you think you are, bro. Stronger than you think you are, girl. Get your head out of your ass, essentially, and get to it. Or, be patient. Fixed signs also have an issue with patience. Be patient. All those Pentacles cards, that would encourage you to be patient. That would encourage you to relax. Do everything you can practically, everything that you can through practical means to help your situation. But if you don't get the result tomorrow, don't throw in the towel. And don't feel as though you're not strong enough and that you did something wrong or that you're never going to get what you want. Be persistent, be strong, but also be patient. All right? All right, Scorpio, that is your birthday reading for, again, your birthday period. I hope something here resonated for you. I hope something here helped you. If it did, go ahead and leave a comment below or like the video. That would be amazing. If you're not subscribed, you could become a subscriber. That would be amazing. And of course, share the video if you think there are other people in the world who could benefit from listening to this message. And I will be back to do this particular reading in about a year. So until then, no, but please look out for my monthly readings. Those will be coming out soon. And I might start doing weeklies again. I'm really thinking about that. And you're the first sign that I've ever said that to. So lucky you. Happy birthday. I shared that information with you. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. Take care. Bye.